Welcome to the channel. It's Jack, the muscle and mobility maker with Stronghold Strength and Conditioning. And today, I'm going to be showing you how to fix your shoulder external rotation. But before we get into it, let's take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Saturday, I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine, and it doesn't get better than that. So take advantage of it. Ready? Let's go ahead and dive into this one. All right, like I said, today we're gonna be showing you how to optimize and fix your shoulder external rotation. So external rotation is that exercise where you see people pulling out like this or up here, looking at it. So making sure that we have the ability to externally rotate the shoulder is extremely important for the stability of our shoulder, but also our core when our arms are our anchor and our base. So we want to make sure that we have that rotational capacity, because a lot of movements that we move from anywhere in this flexion range or even up here into abduction are really stabilized best when we have external rotation, and that will protect your shoulders in the long run. So we're going to be looking at how to open up that joint range of motion. We're going to be looking at how to stabilize around it after we open it up and address even some of those soft tissues around the joint to make sure that we're able to get a nice balanced approach to it and make sure it sticks and lasts. So let's go ahead and start diving into looking at the joint range of motion itself and opening that up. Alright, for the first few, we're just going to use a simple dowel setup here. What I want to do is drop the dowel behind my back, almost as if I was trying to scratch my back with the stick. I want to anchor the end to the floor, and I'm going to put the anchor end out to the front as far as I can take it. So depending on where you're at, this might vary a little bit at first, but we're using the ground for leverage. Once I have that stick actually planted there, what I want to do is drive up against the stick for about 5 to 10 seconds and then relax and take the stick a little bit deeper. Now I can also use the other arm to lift that end if I need to take it a little bit further into this range of motion. So I can use my other hand and not just the floor to take the range of motion deeper. Flex, release, taking each range of motion as it's given. Next, similar concept here, we're going to be propping the elbow tip on the edge of a bench, facing the floor, almost as if you're holding a javelin. I've got my dowel again anchored in the corner of the legs of the bench there. And what I'm doing is driving that down into that corner for 5 to 10 seconds. So I want to flex against the resistance of the floor and the bench, and on that resistance, when I relax, I'm going to open up more range of motion by sinking deeper in to the externally rotated position of the shoulder. So my arm stays in the same position essentially, but I drop my torso and allow that shoulder to rotate further in external rotation, and repeat that process. 5 seconds on, relax, take it deeper. For the next one, I'm going to be setting up with both elbows on the bench. What I want to do, and we're working the right arm in this example, is I'm going to press into my left arm. So I'm isometrically resisting myself and then again relaxing and opening up the rotation of that arm. So I'm going to push 5 to 10 seconds, relax, take it deeper into the range of motion that I'm given when I relax each time after that isometric contraction. So I'm using my left arm to press my right arm into that externally rotated position on the relax each time, taking more space. And lastly, with our dowel and bench setup, now I have both elbows pinned narrow to the bench so that I'm externally rotated with my wrist wider than my elbows. I'm going to drive down into the bench for 5 to 10 seconds, rounding out, really flexing against it, and then I'm going to relax and take it deep into an overhead extension with those arms in an externally rotated biased position. So I really am favoring external rotation by the setup of my elbows being narrow to my wrist, and as I contract into the bench, I'm flexing and then relaxing to gain range of motion in this position. Keep your abs tight so that you're not gaining from your lumbar spine, making sure we're not compensating, really making the arms get in that overhead position in the external rotation of the shoulder. Next, we've got a banded option. So I'm going to place the band at the tip of my elbow and interlace it between my middle and ring fingers. Then I'm going to turn away from the band. The band is about shoulder height when I'm kneeling or hip height when I'm standing. First of all, I'm just going to let that elbow get pulled toward the ceiling, so we're really opening up the triceps, the lats here. And then once I kind of have that, I'm going to drop the elbow out to shoulder level. My hand is anchored on that band, so the band is kind of pulling me into external rotation as I drop the elbow in to the side there and then take it back overhead. You might start small, work slowly through this one, but this can be a great one as well to help open up in that overhead to the outside position where we're abducted at the shoulder. Next, self-myofascial release can be a very helpful tool in opening up range of motion, especially if those tissues on the anterior side of the shoulder are stiff or the lats are stiff. So here we're going to address the pec, following the line of the clavicle. You'll see me just going back and forth across those tissues, looking for stiff tissues, trigger points, anything that stands out where there's discomfort to the pressure of that ball. I want to be able to pin that down, flex and release on it, and allow the ball to sink deeper into those tissues. You can kind of play with your head and neck in this position and then work more toward the anterior deltoid as well. So here I'm catching anterior deltoid, a little bit of that bicep insertion at the shoulder. And again, I'm just kind of finding those tender points. I'm going to play with different movements. I'm trying to free up those tissues. You should actually notice that there's a decrease in discomfort as you're doing it, and that it's improving the quality. Even getting out into the lateral deltoid here, more that medial range. Next, I'm going to do the lats and the posterior shoulder a little bit. So this would be where my triceps are actually inserting at the shoulder, as well as those lats. We place it in that posterior range. What I want to do is extend my elbow fully. So I'm giving a nice long reach overhead. You'll notice my palm is back. We want to keep that rotation, and that is key, okay? So we're reaching with the palm up, almost like we're doing a chin up, okay? The last position here is internal external rotation. Again, hitting those tissues at the posterior shoulder while working specifically internally and externally rotating. Next, we want to start to stabilize this range of motion that we've now opened up. So here I'm using a band to actually provide some traction at the shoulder. First of all, I just want to let it pull out and relax into it as much as possible. And then from there, I'm going to internally and externally rotate as deep as I can. When I internally rotate, I want to make sure that my scapula does not follow that. And when I externally rotate, I want to squeeze as far as I can without bending at the elbow. So the key is that the movement is coming strictly from the shoulder itself, and it's focused on rotation with that traction at the same time, creating space and clean movement at the shoulder. We're also going to take this one up overhead as well. So you're going to turn and go facing the band itself with the arm pulled in the overhead position, and then add that same internal and external rotation at the shoulder to really squeeze the juice. The key is that you're not bending at the elbow when you are rotating. So it's a pure rotation without bend, which will be hard for you at first if you're not used to this one and haven't done it before. Next, we're going to prop your elbow up on a bench, and we're going to do a little bit of internal and external rotation with a little bit of load. So here I'm dropping the weight below the bench level, and then I'm using my external rotators to pull it back to vertical. Once I get to that vertical point, it's no longer really external rotation in an active manner, but I want to let it passively get pulled back by the weight as well. So again, I'm kind of working both internal and external rotation in this movement as far as strengthening both based off of the passive pull that I get from the load, and then being able to change directions and go in the opposite. And lastly, using a band at the wrist, pinned under the feet with your back against a wall, we want to externally rotate the shoulder, getting the forearm flat to the wall. The key is that I'm not reaching back with my knuckles here as I pull. I want to keep my neck relaxed, get my shoulder blades pulled down and back, and then focus on being able to rotate that forearm in line with my ears here from the resistance of the band, challenging me at the same time. All right, and there you have it. How to systematically go about opening up your shoulder external rotation mobility and how to stabilize around that to make sure that it sticks and lasts. If you like this video, make sure you let me know by clicking that big thumbs up down below, and take a moment to share this one with a friend. Maybe they're just lacking in their shoulder mobility a little bit. Maybe they're running into constant shoulder injuries when they're pressing. It's gonna help them overall, so pass it along their way and share the love. If you are somebody who struggles with shoulder aches and injuries or other training aches and injuries that are keeping you from training at the intensity that you would like to, and you're looking for a solution to that problem, what I want you to do right now is drop down below in the description to fill out a coaching application and get your mobility blueprint call scheduled. This will be our opportunity to jump on a Zoom call together so that I can take you through a bit of an assessment, gather all the information I would need to tailor a program specific to your needs, and then from there, lay out for you in full details the path that we would be taking. And that would be how we start to move you in the right direction. So take a moment right now, fill out that coaching application and schedule that call so we get you moving in that direction. Last but not least, if you have not already, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Saturday, I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine, and it does not get better than that. Welcome to the Stronghold Army. We'll see you next week.